Echoes of Empire, the ancient cities of Britain. Beneath the stone and fog, before there were kingdoms, before cathedrals pierced the heavens and castles crowned the hills, there were cities. Hidden beneath modern streets and concrete jungles lie the bones of a forgotten world, a tapestry of ancient life, crumbling empires, and lost voices. This is not just history. This is the origin story of Great Britain. Imagine you're walking through the heart of London. Traffic hums, skyscrapers tower, but just meters below your feet, the remnants of Londinium, a Roman stronghold, lie buried in time. What secrets do those stones keep? What lives once walked those silent roads? This documentary unearths 5 of the most pivotal ancient cities in modern-day Britain. Each one a ghost of power, ambition, and ingenuity. From Celtic strongholds to Roman metropolises and Viking ports, we trace their rise, their glory, and their haunting decline. Let us begin with a city carved by empire. Londinium, the Roman heartbeat of Britain. Long before London became a global powerhouse, it was Londinium, a Roman port forged in fire and ambition. Founded around AD 47, just 4 years after the Roman conquest of Britain, the city rose on the banks of the River Thames. The Thames provided deep enough waters for ships to dock and supply the Roman legions. Soon, Londinium was a buzzing hub of commerce, culture, and governance. Roman engineers were not known for modesty. They built stone walls, a massive basilica, amphitheaters, bathhouses, and a sprawling forum, all in the classic Roman style, with columns, mosaics, and archways. Roads were meticulously planned. Aqueducts brought water. Civilization thrived, but it wasn't all triumph. In AD 60, Boudica, the warrior queen of the Iceni tribe, led a revolt that burned Londinium to ash. Roman historians tell of fire consuming the city, of citizens massacred, and temples crumbling. But the Romans rebuilt, stronger. Londinium would grow into the largest city in Roman Britain. Londinium thrived on trade. Pottery, wine, olive oil, and slaves flowed in from the Mediterranean. Artisans, merchants, and officials made up its cosmopolitan society. Walk the streets near Tower Hill or Cannon Street, and you might stumble upon fragments of the old Roman wall. In underground chambers, parts of the forum and bathhouses remain. The bones of Londinium still breathe. Eboracum, fortress of the north. Today, it's called York. But 2,000 years ago, it was Eboracum, a critical Roman outpost founded in AD 71 by the 9th Legion. Eboracum was the key to controlling the rebellious north. The Romans built a massive fortress here, complete with barracks, headquarters, and defensive walls. At its peak, Eboracum housed a full legion. Stone fortifications towered above the river Ouse. Temples to Mithras and Jupiter were etched in grandeur. And in time, civilian settlements grew around the military core, becoming one of Roman Britain's most sophisticated cities. 2 emperors, Septimius Severus and Constantius Chlorus, died in York. Even Constantine the Great, the first Christian emperor of Rome, was proclaimed emperor here in AD 306. Military life dominated, but so did commerce. Eboracum boasted workshops, traders, and a vibrant civilian life. Blacksmiths, weavers, and farmers fed the city's economy. Beneath York Minster, archaeologists have uncovered Roman foundations. Walk through the York Museum gardens, and you'll see the remnants of Roman walls and multangular towers, a city still whispering its imperial past. Aquae Sulis, the sacred waters of Bath. Nestled in Somerset lies a city unlike any other. Bath, or Aquae Sulis as the Romans named it, was built not just for defense or power, but for healing and worship. The Celts revered the natural hot springs as sacred, dedicated to the goddess Sulis. When the Romans arrived around AD 60, they did not destroy, they assimilated. They merged Sulis with Minerva, the Roman goddess of wisdom, and constructed a breathtaking temple and bathing complex around the steaming waters. The baths were a marvel: vaulted ceilings, heated floors, hypercourse systems, pools of varying temperatures, and intricate stonework. The entire complex glowed with imperial elegance. Aquae Sulis was a symbol of cultural blending. Celts and Romans coexisted. Pilgrims came from across the empire, seeking healing. Thousands of offerings, curses, coins, and jewelry were thrown into the sacred spring, many of which survive today. Priests, bathhouse workers, traders, and craftsmen made up the city's economy. It was a spiritual hub, a place of commerce, sanctuary, and ceremony. Today, Bath is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The Roman baths remain one of Britain's most iconic archaeological sites. The city still pulses with the echoes of Aquae Sulis. Caerleon, the Legion's last stand. We move now to Wales. In the shadow of green hills lies Caerleon, once known as Isca Augusta, a vital Roman military base. Established around AD 75, it was home to the Second Augustan Legion. The fortress was nearly a city in itself, complete with massive amphitheater, barracks, bathhouses, and a parade ground. Isca Augusta was part of Rome's attempt to subdue the resistant tribes of Wales. For over 2 centuries, it stood as a bastion of Roman control in a hostile land. The amphitheater could seat over 6,000, a sign of both entertainment and imperial strength. The town that grew outside the fortress thrived with merchants and families of soldiers. Blacksmithing, pottery, and trade sustained the local economy. Today, you can still walk through the amphitheater's remains, one of the best preserved in Britain. Caerleon is a living museum, the past etched into the soil. Dunedin, the Celtic stronghold that became Edinburgh. Our final stop takes us to Scotland, to the rocky spine where the ancient stronghold of Dunedin once stood. Centuries before it became Edinburgh, this was a Celtic fortress town of immense strategic value. Long before the Romans arrived, the Brittonic tribe known as the Votadini built Dunedin atop Castle Rock. It served as a stronghold, a royal centre, and a tribal seat. Fortified with timber palisades and stone walls, it overlooked vital routes through Scotland. Its natural elevation made it nearly impregnable. By the 7th century, Dunedin had fallen to Anglo-Saxon control and was renamed Edinburgh. But traces of its Celtic past linger. Poems like Why Gododin recall heroic warriors who feasted and fought from this very hill. Early life was tribal, sustained by herding, raiding, and rudimentary trade. Later, as part of the medieval Scottish kingdom, it evolved into a royal and political capital. Edinburgh Castle still looms from Castle Rock, a modern fortress on ancient foundations. Beneath its stones lies a prehistory that predates written record. As we close this journey, remember, these cities were more than buildings. They were breathing organisms, cultures, ambitions, conquests, and faith carved into stone. Though centuries have passed, they have not vanished. They whisper in museum vaults, muddy excavation pits, and half-forgotten walls. The soul of ancient Britain lingers, waiting to be seen, heard, remembered. These are not ruins. They are echoes, and they are calling us back. Subscribe to uncover more buried truths, more forgotten cities, more lost legends. This is Echoes of Empire.